And to reflect on Messi mania and the stark contrast with the pitiable state of Indian football and those chaotic scenes in Kolkata, I'm joined by a very special guest, someone who's been an iconic footballer for India for years. Baichung Bhutia joins me. Great to have you, Baichung, on the show. It's been quite a few days with the Messi tour. Lots of fan mania that we saw. But questions are being asked, and I want to start with that hundreds of crores spent by sponsors and organizers on the Argentinian football star, could the same money actually have been utilized to lift the standard of Indian football, where we currently land 142nd in the world? Could the money have been spent, as Abhinav Bindra, for example, has suggested, on lifting the quality of sports infrastructure in this country instead of paying all the money to a big football star?
Yeah, I think if you leave the commercial part of it, Messi coming to India definitely is a great and positive sign, because it's going to, I think, we had football news and Messi news for the last 3-4 days. And I think it's going to encourage and motivate and bring awareness to a lot of kids across India to play football. But yes, in terms of commercial, I think it was completely a private entity that did the entire tour. So when the private parties are, I think, involved, they obviously, to bring Messi, it does cost quite a lot of money, and they did it commercially. And there were people, I think, spending money. There were corporates who spend money, and which is a good sign. But I think this also shows that, if they could come forward, especially the corporates and also people who paid quite a few thousands of rupees to get tickets to come and watch Messi, also now would come and start watching Indian football and also spend and invest in Indian football. That would be great. But again, this is a completely private tour, which was a commercial tour. So,
Right.
and they're bound to sell it commercially, and the revenues, obviously the numbers, what we heard in terms of money, I'm not too sure how much did it cost and what they made. But when it's commercial, you can't
But
help
Mr.
it.
Bhutia, no, Baichung, I have no problem with it being a commercial tour. That's the logic of the market. But the truth of the matter also is, if Indian corporates can spend 10 lakhs to just get a photograph or a selfie with Lionel Messi on a tour where allegedly the economic impact exceeded 500 crores across the 4 cities, I mean, the same money, I repeat, could have gone into building better infrastructure, supporting coaches. That's what Indian football really needs. You don't even have a proper ISL, Indian Soccer League, anymore. Indian football is suffering, even as Indians seem to love football stars like Lionel Messi. Should sponsors now be looking to encourage to build on this fan craze into building better sports infrastructure instead of getting temporary euphoria by clicking a photograph with Lionel Messi, especially the sponsors?
Yes, again, if you look at corporates, because every corporate is not going to do charity, they always look back in returns what they get. And I think Indian football should be able to start getting results. Obviously, for that we need to really get our structure, performance right. But if I can give you my own example as well, Baichung Bhutia Football School, BBFS, I've started the academy 15 years ago. In last 15 years, a lot of kids have gone on to play for India in different age groups. Till today, I have not taken a single rupee either from the state government or the central government to help me form this academy. We are the biggest grassroots football program in India today. So there's not been a single rupee or some kind of infrastructure, support from a state, neither the central government as well, and which I've not taken. It's all been through BVFS coaches and the people working there. Through corporate, in the last 2 years, we've been slightly lucky in getting the CSR fund. So yes, I think corporates are also looking at the returns, but sometimes I think there are corporates who've got a lot of CSR fund. And I think if those CSR funds could come into sports rather than anything else, and now the country is also looking at becoming big in terms of sporting nation. We've just got Commonwealth Games in few years, and we're trying to bring in Olympics. And I think that is where the corporates and their CSR money should get into sports. Sporting. I think sports and sporting academies or something like that.
Is part of the problem, Baichung, that Indians love sporting stars, but they don't love sport? We love to see the Messis and Ronaldos. We want to be photographed with Messi. But do we do enough to encourage our homegrown football stars? Do we actually want to build a sporting culture where every kid can get a chance to play the game? we want results at every level. If the Indian team today maybe was to do better at the Asian level, we might actually support the new football stars. But at the moment, nobody actually wants to see sport. They want to see the stars. Isn't that part of the problem?
I think what you say is exactly right. I think we've been more starstruck rather than really, sports oriented. But good, it's good to see that at least football, as general, I think it's a global sport, and we got such a huge fan following here in India as well. But it's time that we need to start encouraging, supporting the sport overall, and just not try and become a nation where we are only starstruck. And that we've seen even with cricket as well. There are cricketers who are worshipped here in India. But when it comes to actual sport, if there's a good quality cricket between two nations which does not involve, say, India, maybe England or Australia is playing, you don't see that kind of people watching it. So I think it's just been a star kind of a thing which we are
Right,
getting into starstruck kind of thing, rather than really investing and
right.
promoting and watching sports to really push the game forward.
But there will be those who are listening to you who will say, first the Indian football team needs to start getting results, climb up the rankings, then the sponsors will follow. Sponsors go according to market realities. Today the truth is, Baichung, a lot of young Indians prefer to watch Manchester City or Barcelona, buy Barcelona or City shirts, but not Indian team shirts, because the Indian team is seen as losers. Football is a global sport in which we've got left behind. Do you believe, therefore, that the real buck stops with the federation? The football federation that is reportedly in a mess and needs to do much more than they are doing today?
Definitely, yes, Rajdeep. If you look into, I think, any in India especially, I think the results are very important where people connect. And whenever any Indian star does it well, international tournament, be it either in badminton or boxing, there has been huge support and fan following. So for in football as well, I think we have to start getting results. But again, personally, I feel the system what we have right now in football, I think it's bit little outdated. Uh, the system which is the structure which is already there with states, district level, and every state and district level, I think, are all honorary posts in that. So it becomes very difficult to really have committed people, really working there. So we've got to get this complete system and the structure change, which is going to be a big challenge. Everybody says we need to start from scratch. The way football right now is, we are in a very bad shape, no doubt. And everybody says that we need to start from scratch, which is fine. But for me, I think for starting from scratch, there is already a system and structure which has to be, I think, completely demolished and start from a
Can I,
new.
can I ask you those? Can I ask you though, is Baichung Bhutia ready to lead the Football Federation? You've attempted it in the past. If you were asked tomorrow, we need a Baichung Bhutia to lead the Football Federation. You've got a private academy, but what we really need is you or Sunil Chetri to become the flag bearer of Indian football. Would you be ready to do that?
No, I would want somebody who's really got passion, who's got the knowledge about the sport to come and lead. Whether it does not need to be footballer itself. I did try earlier as well, but in India, I think there is a lot of political involvement in any football association, be it state or the federation. So and I'm not against that. If either state or the central government gets involved into elections of sports federation, I think they need to bring in the right people
Right,
who's got that passion, knowledge, and
right.
ideas to take the sport forward. But just not because somebody is with the party, some particular party, and just try and promote him. I think that's not going to help. So you need to bring in somebody who actually has
You
got
know
the
that
knowledge and passion to take it
you know
forward.
that that brings me to the other big question: the politics around the Messi visit. We've had the Kolkata, the West Bengal sports minister resigned today after the chaos that we saw in Kolkata, which is one of your home cities, where VVIPs and ministers of the Trinamool Congress seemed more keen to get selfies with Messi and Suarez rather than allowing the fans to see them in what is seen as the spiritual home of Indian football. It's that VVIP culture, Baichung, that remains, that many believe caused the chaos in Kolkata. Do you see that the problem is that officials and ministers were more interested in taking selfies with Messi? They're not interested in football.
Exactly, I think, Raja, I think this actually really exposed how much the VIP culture and the political, any big events, it's the politicians, some senior bureaucrats, including the journalists as well, gets into it and try and make the event entirely captures the event. I think till the time we don't change this mindset, the sport has to be the priority. Sport has to be the first thing. I went to one big event here in Delhi. I won't name what exactly what it was, a World Cup Coco thing, and I couldn't believe 2 hours of speeches by the leaders, by netas. The sport has to start. People have come there to watch. The players are waiting, and this is not just one particular event which I've seen. It's across everywhere. The players are waiting, the fans are waiting for the sport to start, but then you have political leaders, netas coming in, giving their vasan.
Right.
Then sometimes if you have in smaller cities and states, when you have a political neta who is the chief guest who comes late, the game itself is delayed because of your chief guest coming late. I think until and unless you don't change this mindset, I think sport is never going to go forward. You
Right.
have to have sports as a priority, sports person the priority, and the game should be the first thing, not the netas or any self-claimed VIPs. So I think sport has to be given the priority in situations like this.
That's right. Those were the shocking scenes we are showing you on the screens in Kolkata that brought great shame to that city, which is, as I said, the spiritual home of football. But my final question, Baichung, I think you spoke to or got to meet Lionel Messi. Did you tell him anything about the state of Indian football? What was your conversation like with the great Messi? What did you tell him?
No, I didn't get to speak long, just one or two lines because obviously it's a very, very packed schedule. I just said that thanks. I thanked him because my son and my kids, my daughters also do play football, and they've been highly inspired by Messi. So I just said that my kids they love football is because of people like you, and Messi's been their idol as well, especially my son. Yeah,
Right.
he's the biggest idol, for him. So I just thanked him for that, and just said my kids adore him and love him.
Well, let me leave it on that. We all are fans of Lionel Messi, but some of us at least, remain fans of Indian sport and Indian football, which is why we hope that the sponsors and the fans and the organizers who organize the Messi event will now put their money also and their support behind Indian football. Baichung Bhutia, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.